What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of Gear Breaker Nation, where we give excellent assessment reviews. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the Supergirl pilot episode. Well, season 1, episode 1 pilot episode-ish. Anyways, guys, the episode starts off where Krypton is in its last moments, and Kal-El and Kara are about to get whisked away to safety of Earth, if you can call Earth safe. But anyway, Kal-El ends up leaving, and then Kara ends up leaving after this great drawn out, moment with her mom and her father. So she ends up getting sent off, but Krypton ends up exploding, and during the explosion, it knocks her spacecraft off course. So she ends up going to the Phantom Zone. Okay, she ends up escaping 24 years later and makes it to Earth, and of course, by this time, Kal-El is grown up to be Superman. So Superman ends up rescuing her and takes her to this family called the Danvers, who end up adopting her. They know about Superman, they know about his powers, they know about Kara, so there's that. So Kara's been on the planet for 12 years. At this point, she moves to National City, which I've never heard of before. But anyway, she moves to National City. She ends up getting a job that's kind of like Clark's, where she's like getting a newspaper, media-ish business. And she works under this boss named Cat Grant. I like Cat Grant. I like how she was introduced. She does seem like she's stuck up, but she feels like she's one of those. She's what I would consider one of those definitive women that would be like a strong female business type woman. She could be a douchebag at times, but she actually got some sense behind the things that she says and she does. Besides the things that she does. So, anyways, Alex and Kara have this talk at the apartment, and she says she doesn't feel like she's fulfilled in life, that she's like there's a bigger and deeper purpose. And then they see, Kara's on this date with this douchebag. I think he dipped out on her and everything. So I was like, man, dude, that's kind of crazy. But it's kind of justified because she's kind of weirdish, like stalkerish, weirdish with that person. Her personality was kind of weird, the way she kind of put herself off. I probably would have dipped out on her too, but I don't know. But anyway, so she ends up seeing on the news that the plane that her sister Alex was taking was about to crash. So she takes off, and she does this really badass sequence where she's like running down this freaking this alleyway trying to fly. I wish it would have been a little bit drawn out more, because she jumped like twice. I wish it was at least 3 times. I'd have been like, okay. Kind of like that part in Hancock where he was trying to get away from old girl so that way he could start flying again. He jumped like a few times, then he flew away. So I was like, I wish it had been a little bit more of that. So she ends up flying, she catches the plane. She's like, sweet. And then next thing you know, the plane's about to crash into the bridge. Then she like maneuvers the plane to go through the bridge, and it lands it into the water. And then she does this really cool thing where she like gets up out the water, stands on the wing, and it's like she's announcing herself to the world. And it's pretty cool because she's like awesome. And I was like, okay, freaking awesome. So after that, the world is buzzing about Supergirl. Cat Grant names her Supergirl, which Kara doesn't like the fact that this girl is not Superwoman, but Kara didn't like the fact that she was called Supergirl. But Kat actually sat her down and actually established that girl is a more powerful word than Kara gave her credit for. And I have to say, like moments like that, I made me really like Cat Grant, because she's really good at bringing out like the feminism thing, but not to the point where she's like a douchebag about it. So there is that point. I really did enjoy her. Of course, you got James with Jimmy Olsen. So it's James Olsen now, and you can obviously tell that these two actually like a full-on attraction the moment that they seen each other. So I was like, cool. One thing I didn't like about Wynn, because I like Wynn's character. I like the fact that she even told him and how she did it, where she jumped off the building, then he ran to go see, and then she like flips over and lands back. Like, that was pretty cool. I didn't like the fact that it introduced that she liked her like that on this episode. So I was like, this could have been like a plot point later on in the season. But what can you do? But anyways, so she's doing a superhero thing while they're trying to build a suit. And I like how they transitioned it where she's fighting crime, and at the same time they're trying to get her a decent suit. I mean, honestly, the funniest part I have to say is the part where she's like flying after that car, and then she like the car turned, and then she flew straight into that hill. I thought that was pretty funny. So I like that transition. Again, I would have liked to seen this been more of a transition later on, like throughout the series, but not really in the first episode. But you know, you can get what you get. You know, beggars can't be choosers. I thought it was done pretty well though, the way they did that back and forth. So that's that. Also, she's trying to do a superhero thing again. Then next thing you know, the DEO ends up like ambushing her and capturing her. And this is where she first gets introduced to kryptonite. So I kind of like that, but I thought it was kind of weird because Superman by this point is Superman. So if that's the case, then Superman has dealt with kryptonite before. He's had to have dealt with kryptonite before. So if he's dealt with kryptonite, then he has to at least told her about it, but she doesn't know anything about it. Maybe because he hadn't told her, probably because maybe he didn't expect her to be a superhero or something like that. Or maybe this is when kryptonite is first introduced in the Superman, like period of Superman. So I'm not really sure about that. But I thought it was pretty cool that she found out that can like drain her powers and stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. And also, the DEO stands for the Department of, like, what is it? Extra normal. I wasn't gonna say activity, but it's like organization. I don't know, something like that. It's like the Men in Black. Yeah, the Men in Black. I'm gonna say the Men in Black. Anyways, Alex is revealed to be a part of the Men in Black. So I was like, oh, wow. Another plot point that probably should have been saved for later on in the series. But, okay, cool. Sweet. So, next thing you know, they end up finding more. Kara ends up discovering more information that her mom was like, that she was responsible for these new superpower alien criminals for being on Earth. Because when she left out the Phantom Zone, I guess the prison ship that they were on followed her to Earth and crashed. So they about doing wild stuff. So they've had about 12 years of acting a fool. So, okay, sweet. So that's what the DEO or the MIB, Men in Black. The Men in Black were established to combat that alien threat. So I'm like, okay, cool. So they established that. They established that her mom was responsible for imprisoning a lot of those criminals, which bears a grudge against her. So there is that. I like that too. Okay. Anyway, so one of the villains, it's revealed that one of the villains, the criminals named Vartox, who bears a grudge against Kara's mom, and was the one to have been the one who sabotaged the plane, calls Kara out. So they have this really pretty cool and well-shot, intense battle, but he ends up getting upper hand on her before he can pretty much kill her. The MIB show up, and they get him off of her. So I'm like, okay, that's sweet. She ends up questioning herself, and I think it's kind of justified because sometimes when a person does stuff on impulse, you don't fully think about stuff, and then when it does backfire, it also makes you question yourself. So I've done it several times. Like I'm doing this video, and it's off impulse. So we'll see how this just comes out. Okay, next you know, James has this really cool talk with her along with Alex. James let her know, hey, I know about your secret and everything. I know about your secret. So it's like, okay, cool. Which he kind of hinted on throughout this episode anyway. And I think he got it backwards. Vartox and Kara fought twice. He told her secret after the second fight. Okay, so the second fight, she goes after Vartox, who's about to blow up the city. And it's kind of cool because she lands in front of him and he's driving this truck and he runs the truck into it and he flies out and the truck's all messed up and everything, and they have this pretty intense battle and she manages to defeat him, and before she can like question him, he kills himself. So I was like, oh, that's kind of a bitch move, man. But it was like, okay, sweet. So you kind of tell that what's going on is pretty big and important and on hush hush. So I thought that was pretty cool. Of course, like I said, James ended up telling her, I know your secret, I know your cousin. We all in this together. He gives you this cape that's bulletproof, and I believe he said that's the cape that he was Kal-El was in when he came to Earth as a baby. So I was like, okay, that's some kind of an emotional thing behind that too. Okay, sweet. And also, Everything is sweet. You see that Supergirl's thing is going on. She does this really tight ass super flying thing, and then at the end of the episode, we find out that the person running the show is Kara's aunt Astra, who is the twin sister of her mom. So I was like, okay, again, that's something I wish they could have saved later on, but they didn't. I was like, okay, sweet. Okay, that's my recap of the pilot episode, and it was pretty cool. It was really intense. It was a lot to kind of process. I wish it felt like I watched the whole season in one episode, kind of. But it was a good introduction. It really has me intrigued. I'm sitting here ready to watch and see what second episode is going to come out with. So guys, what you think about this episode? Think it was too much? You think it wasn't enough? What do you think about the characters that's been established already? And that's it. Catch you guys in the next edition of Gear Breaker Nation. And remember guys, keep those gears turning.